Okay. Hello to whomever is watching this. This is my mother, Eva Szasz-Peterffy, who is a fantastic cook and can make killer cabbage rolls. I'm her daughter Lily, and we're going to demonstrate her incredibly complicated technique for making cabbage rolls.
That's true. That's true.
She cheated because before I arrived, she's already done a lot of pre-preparation, as you can see, and I'm just going to show you what's here. So we have 3 pounds of ground meat, and she likes to use a mixture of pork and chicken and beef. We have beautiful wine sauerkraut. We have lovely tomato paste. We have a bag of barley, we have oil, we have pepper, this is garlic powder, which we won't need much of. We have a couple of eggs. We had 2 heads of cabbage, and she's already pre-cooked the leaves on this, and she's explained to me how you can actually demonstrate that now, Mom. So she dipped the cabbage in, cooked it whole in the pot. But she said once you peel those leaves off as it's cooking, you need to take each one and kind of remove the heavy part of the stem, because otherwise, she said, you won't be able to roll the cabbage rolls. So maybe I'll get a close-up of that. So here's her technique for removing those thick parts of the stems so that the leaves are pliable. So she was explaining to me about how she puts the whole cabbage in the water with the core removed, and that the technique of removing the core is important.
That's already done.
Yeah. All
okay.
Right. So that's good.
That's just easier to.
Right. And here's a close-up of our other ingredients.
Yeah, pre-cooked the rice.
She's pre-cooked the rice. It's about 1.5 cups of rice that was already cooked. She's cut up the cabbage into pieces that are big enough, or small enough.
And peeled the onion.
Right. So this is 1 whole head of garlic.
So first I mix the rice into the meat. Okay. Put.
So that's pepper.
Pepper.
Oh, that's a lot of pepper.
Yeah, it's good.
That looks like maybe a good teaspoon or tablespoon of pepper, you think? A couple of teaspoons, maybe.
Never can.
You missed her facial expression when I asked her about amounts.
I think I put a third one in it. A third.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
we're making a really big batch here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Coming the salt.
All right. Your guess is as good as mine of what the amount is going to end up being. A lot of salt. There we go. All right. Some salt.
Some salt.
Some salt.
And I didn't open the.
Oh.
Okay.
Right now, okay. Ooh. Yeah.
Well,
Generous sprinkle, some garlic powder.
Yeah. And some oil.
Oh, okay. It can be any oil, apparently.
Any oil.
Doesn't matter. Just happen to have vegetable oil in the house, so. All right.
Fine.
All right.
Okay. Now coming the hard part.
This is the hard part?
Mix together.
Oh, so this is the manual labor part.
Yeah.
All right. So while you're mixing it together.
My hand is already clean.
Okay.
And
so while you're doing that, maybe you can explain how you learned to do this.
What do you mean?
Well, did Daddy's mom, my paternal grandmother
my
Ilona?
mother-in-law teach me everything what I know. I never know nothing before I get married, and she teach me everything what I know.
So she taught you this recipe, obviously, as well.
Yeah, that's her recipe, and this is a little bit different like anybody else's I ever tasted. And I think that's the best. For me, that's the best.
And what do you think tastes different about this recipe than the other ones that you don't care for, or that aren't as good?
I don't know anybody else's recipe.
So you don't.
I tasted the many cabbage rolls, and always this is the best I ever.
I think I would say that it's not as tomatoey as some. It's not as much tomato, maybe. Sometimes
They use not tomato paste. Probably they use tomato juice, which is much sour, and yeah.
Maybe the tomato paste is the secret ingredient.
So you want to show how I mix it?
Yeah, yeah. So the kitchen where you would have learned how to do this in Hungary was that in
most of the
Tiszaket?
things I learned already, because in Hungary we didn't live together.
Oh.
But here we live together. And
So in Montreal and in
learned,
Beamsville.
and in Beamsville, most of the things I learned from her in Beamsville, because in Hungary we had two different places. She was 7 kilometers from me, and she never had really time. We never spent time together
Right.
so much like here.
Right.
No, it smells good and looks good.
Yeah, it already smells good. It's raw meat.
Now I will show you
All right.
how.
This is very important, this technique. We're going to get right in on the angle here. So that looks like about a small potato's worth size. Okay. You just kind of roll it up and then tuck the ends
it's
in.
easier, it's easier on the board, this like.
Oh, do you need a surface? Do you want this? You've got that blue thing?
Well, I have it here too.
Oh,
Is
okay.
I just
Okay.
want to show you.
All right.
This is not a very nice one.
All right.
I will make
so that
a
one
nice.
was a dud.
Yeah.
All right. You should have some cabbage rolling music. We're just gonna have.
No, this is a better one.
Ah, okay.
Supposed to look
All
like
right,
that.
I see. Okay, that's a beautiful cabbage roll.
And that's a beautiful
All right.
cabbage roll. Okay.
So, in our family, cabbage rolls weren't necessarily part of any specific special occasion. It was just something that you used to make primarily, I guess, in the winter time. And my sister,
It's very good in the freezer.
yeah, so my sister and I have received countless
Yeah,
care
that's good.
packages over the years of cabbage rolls as well as stuffed peppers, and we would always recognize that container when Mom would hand it to us, and we would know that we had fantastic emergency meals in the freezer all the time. You know, nothing planned for dinner. Oh, we've got Mom's cabbage rolls in the freezer, and it's a very comforting taste of home, with Mom being away every winter in Florida. My father's mother, Ilona, or we called her Nagymami, which means grandma in Hungarian. She was a genius cook, and we always like to tease Mom, and anything she makes that she learned from Nagymami, we always say, oh, but it doesn't taste like what Nagymami used to make.
But it's funny, she never told me whom she learned.
Really? Huh.
I'm just
That's a good
thinking
point.
about. I'm just thinking
Well,
about. She never told me.
I wonder who, was it her mother, or
No, I
they
don't
would have had
think so.
cooks, right? They had cooks.
She had cooks.
So but she had to learn from somebody. That's, that's funny. We've never talked about that, where
You
she
know,
learned.
She never told me, actually.
Maybe it was a secret.
I-
One thing for sure,
She's always asking advice from girlfriends, and they talk about all the time cooking, you know. But,
Yeah.
So she
Wow.
probably because her mother was an invalid. I don't think she ever can teach her anything.
Really? What was wrong with her mother?
She had born with. I can't. I don't remember how they call it.
What is it in Hungarian?
It's a hip, dislocated hip.
Like hip dysplasia, like.
Dislocated hip, and those days when she was a young kid, they don't know how to fix that. Today, that's nothing. They
Right.
fix it. But those days, they don't know how to fix it.
Right. Well, we're making good progress here. So Grandma not Mummy was a fantastic pastry maker, and she used to
yes.
make homemade barhes, we call it in Hungarian, or challah, or braided bread, if you will,
Yeah.
every single Sabbath.
Yeah, for
She would-
Friday she
yeah.
baked.
Yeah. She had a
Until she
huge farm kitchen with a big table in the middle, and that used to be covered with strudel dough and bread, and just that. She had a fantastic workspace there, and it wasn't unusual to see it covered in all kinds of masterful pastry art that people drove for miles to taste. Her kremes, her dobostorta,
Everything what she did.
her homemade donuts, or funk as we called it in
My
Hungarian.
God, don't even.
I know, right?
mention.
How about szilvás
I
gombóc?
never can make anything like
Plum
that.
dumplings she used to make, and
That's one of the trickiest things
Yeah.
to do, the cabbage roll.
yeah, well,
It's not easy to do it. It's a complicated thing.
right. Well, I think
And when I have leftover meat, I just made like balls. You know.
oh, okay, yeah. You
When
just put
I
it in.
have-
with-
when
yeah.
the leaves is not enough, I have
Yeah.
more meat like leaves. Then I just put into.
By the way, when
we
these
forget the to put the kolbas, not the kolbas, like
smoked meat.
some smoke. Doesn't matter what. It's
Okay.
Anything will do.
Yeah, so we also add some smoked meat to the pot, but we'll do that. It can be smoked turkey thigh, or we couldn't find any, so we ended up with some sausage, any kind of smoked meat to give it flavor. And I didn't mention that these leaves, when they were boiled, there was some vinegar in the water and some salt. So that, I'm not sure what the
But,
purpose of
you know,
the...
in European stores, they sometimes, like at Leninger, sometimes they selling whole cabbage already pickled, and it can be rolled.
Really?
Without, oh yeah.
And
see it.
is it any good?
Huh?
Is it good?
Of course it's good. It doesn't matter the leaves. Some people doesn't even eat the leaves. I know people who doesn't like the leaves,
Yeah.
which is crazy, but I love it.
Yeah.
Bernie usually leave it to Sue.
Right.
The leaves.
Right. Well, that's...
Timo didn't like the leaves either. I'm just thinking about I usually leave the leaves,
oh,
which is my favorite part.
really?
Look how nice this one come out.
There's your perfect cabbage roll, people. Slightly convex. I always confuse those two. That's your prize-winning cabbage roll. Red ribbon right there, or blue ribbon, depending if you're in the States or Canada.
And I have cutie, I don't know.
An apron.
Apron, and I forgot about
Yes,
it.
I decided to wear my treble in the kitchen apron, which one of the many clever gifts my sister Sue gave me. or Juji as we call her. She will like this video, I think. If it comes out okay.
I don't think
She won't make the cabbage rolls.
I don't think she ever will make it. She
But-
will talk about a lot, but
Well, Jen might. Jen's
might.
Jen's
yeah.
interested, so you never know.
But
And I certainly will.
it's a little bit more complicated.
Well, thing is, when you
other-
make a big batch like this, it's a big payoff
it's
because you get
enough
so
for
many
that.
meals, you
That's
know.
lots of.
So this cabbage has been cut into pieces just large enough to fit into the chute of the food processor.
At least with my old machine, but this new machine, I
Right.
don't know.
I was just getting the making coffee and getting the food processor ready, and Mom has dumped the wine sauerkraut into a strainer. She's letting the extra liquid out, but keeping it in case she needs it to moisten. Now, do you squeeze that, or do you just let it?
No, I don't have to squeeze. I have to taste it. When, if it's too sour, it's not good. So I keep the
juice? Yeah.
juice and according to.
Oh, okay. So it's a texture and taste thing. It's complicated, isn't it? It's like chemistry.
Yeah, I told you this is not an easy recipe.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to explain all these little details, isn't it?
A little Hungarian kolbász I didn't went for
You
dinner
ate
last
some of
night.
it?
I had sausage. No, we can do nothing until the cabbage is not.
All right. So, okay. So here's
Nothing we
the
can-
smoked meat, the sausage cut up.
Yeah.
Those are, you can't really see the perspective, but those are about 1 inch in diameter. They just happen to be some
But
nice.
better turkey thigh is better. Usually
Or a
I have
pork
turkey-
hock or something like that. Or,
Yes, it's better, but we
Yeah.
didn't find it,
Right.
which is we're supposed to have
Right.
it.
Okay, so now we're going to do the shredding of the other cabbage, the cabbage that was raw, and the onion. So I'm just going to show you how. So it's shredded. Now I'm going to do the rest because I'm going to give Mom a break here. Finished shredding the cabbage and the onion, and we're bringing it over here. The sun has come out.
Yeah, isn't it something?
All right, so we're adding the tomato paste to the shredded onion and cabbage. Oh.
Huh?
Okay. So we would normally be doing this, of course, in one bowl, but it's just because you can have enough room
A
to
Dutch
mix it.
oven, I had a Dutch oven.
Dutch oven, yeah. A Dutch oven for Hungarian cabbage rolls. That's diverse. So you've added a little bit of the sauerkraut juice in just to rinse out the jar, it looks like.
It's not the sauerkraut, it's just plain water actually.
Oh, that's just plain water. Okay. I see. We're just using that as a vessel.
Yes,
Got it.
okay.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, now the
Alright.
other one has to be washed out.
Do you need me to get some more water?
I will need at the end. I
Oh,
have
okay.
to see.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Now there are a lot of people who make cabbage rolls without all this part. They just have the cabbage rolls themselves. So I don't really know. That's a whole different thing, I guess.
No, I need something to.
Here comes the whole cloves of garlic. It's an entire head of garlic that's been peeled, but we put in the whole cloves. There's some more pepper. Ooh, lots of pepper. Lots of pepper.
Pepper is good.
Mm-hmm. Sausage. Okay. Salt.
Not necessarily. No.
Okay.
I have to taste it. I need things to mix it up.
Oh, okay. The sunlight is affecting our camera angles. I don't have a director of photography. Hopefully you'll be able to see what's going on here.
And it goes the barley in it.
All right, so we've
The
estimated
barley not supposed to wash because that's
so there's something about the barley.
because that's give you know like
So you want to keep it dry for the texture maybe so it absorbs the
I
liquids.
can't explain why, but it makes
So that was just straight barley right out of the bag, and
yeah, because it makes besüríteni. I don't know how you say it in English.
so thick. Well,
It's if you wash it, that's no good. It has
okay.
to be.
So there's something about the barley. It helps to thicken, right?
Yeah, it's
And adds
thickened.
texture, separation.
Okay,
Maybe.
that's about it.
Okay.
I will need some water, of course, but I just have to.
Trying to give you some close-ups here of what's going on. I don't think I've ever seen this before it's cooked in my life. I've probably eaten this 10,000 times and have never seen the unfinished version. Look at that.
Okay, I think I need sauerkraut.
Liquid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in the end you used it all, right? All the juice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess these things are variable depending on the size of the cabbage and all the different things that you can't really...
Okay, now on the top goes the
Alright, so we're laying the cabbage rolls out on top of the...
okay.
Oops. Oh, even more water.
Yeah.
So we want them moist.
Okay.
So we're...
Now I need to cover. Okay, now comes some foil, the heavy duty foil.
Okay. Here comes the... Ooh, that really is heavy duty foil.
I still have it, thank God, at least I have this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready for the oven? Okay, the oven is on 350.
It's heated.
Look how clean it is. Never been used almost. So are we doing something different with these cabbage rolls? They're not getting baked, or I'm just not sure where we are in the plot.
I will put some water and we put on the pot, but it's better in the oven, but We haven't got the...
Oh, so some is going to get baked and some is going to get cooked on the stovetop because of space. We don't have enough space to bake it all together.
Yeah, I haven't got the Dutch oven to put all of it in the one dish.
Uh-huh.
The other one is the one which is really...
I see. So theoretically, you could have put these in another tray and baked them later if you wanted. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
You can do this way or that way, but we will try.
Okay, well, this will be interesting because we'll see the difference.
It will be, believe me, it will be the same.
All right, so she's basically just stacking these cabbage rolls in the pot. Almost the same way she did for the oven batch. This will be the stovetop batch.
Yeah.
Okay. I had no idea. She's got a couple of meatballs there because of the leftover meat. There was more meat than cabbage rolls, but so there's just 2 meatballs there.
Okay. Well, this needs a little bit more butter because...
Okay.
Okay, that will do.
So there's just enough that you can kind of see the water. It's not immersed or anything. All right. There it goes. To the stovetop.
And because it's, I just put on low. Okay.
All right. That looks like medium, about medium heat.
Yeah, because otherwise it's...
And now we wait.
Yeah.
And do you think the stovetop takes about the same time as the oven?
No, it's hamarabb.
It's quicker. The stovetop version will be quicker. All right.
Definitely it's quicker.
All right. So what we did was we removed, it took about an hour and 20 minutes before the stovetop version was done. And we removed the cabbage rolls and the sausage and just put them aside and kept the rest of the mixture here. And when the oven version is ready, which they're behind, then we're going to mix together, we're going to do the same thing. We'll separate out the cabbage rolls. We're going to mix together the 2 side dish versions because Mom feels that this version is a little bit too sour. So she wants to mix them together to neutralize it, and then we'll be good. So we'll be back. They are ready. So these were the ones in the oven. It did take quite a while. It took from 11:45 until 12:30, right?
Yeah,
Is that what time we put them in?
Because
So on the stove it was much faster, but they taste a bit better when they're baked, apparently. More or less. It gets a little bit of toastiness to them. So now we're just removing the cabbage rolls themselves so we can mix together the shredded cabbage part of the dish. It sure smells very good in this apartment. I think that the garlic scent is probably wafting into the hallways and people must be wondering, what are we doing in here?
Nothing is done.
All right, so how are you going to mix it together now?
Well, that's a big question because I haven't got such a big...
You don't have a bowl big enough now. I've got some very big bowls at home, but...
I think this will be better, like in this one.
Yeah.
But that's nothing to do with the recipe.
Well, no. But... So that's pretty much the conclusion of this operation. It was more than a 4-hour operation, really, because she did some preparation before I arrived. And so, you know, the only time we're going to be doing this is on a major day off. for sure. So
It looks good, this
Yeah.
cabbage roll is. I think this will be fine. I hope it's not too sour. It smells good.
yeah,
Now the only thing is left to taste. If
All
not
right.
good, I'm sorry.
I'm sure it'll be
Well done.
delicious.
Okay.
Okay, well. Okay, so we're going to conclude this with a little selfie video because my face was cut off the last time. Thank you, Anya, very much for making cabbage rolls on our
Yeah.
video. And bon appetit, everybody.
Okay.
My baby make grits for me. Grits so good I go ooh wee. We're as happy as we can be. My baby make grits for me. My baby keep the coffee hot, sitting on the stove top, steaming in the pot. I'm so grateful for what we got. My baby keep the coffee hot. He cooks good, good for me. He cooks good, good for me. He looks good, good to me. He's so good, good to me. He cooks good, he looks good. My baby cooks. My baby feed me beans and rice, simmered real slow with a special spice. It's a little taste of paradise. My baby feed me beans and rice. Whoa, 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 whoa. My baby cooks. Whoa, 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 whoa. My baby cooks.